Hey all, and welcome back to Pokémon Y. In the last part, we wrapped up with a bit of a, let's say, civil debate about some legendary Pokémon, and one thing that we missed out was what Azelf's position was in the Sinnoh lore and what he's meant to represent. Stephen, clarify please now.
Well, Uxie was knowledge, Mesprit was emotion, and Azelf was willpower.
So, Azelf is the willpower that it took for me to not throttle you over your blindness to not see that it's just a recoloured Jirachi.
Listen, I proved it! I proved it!
No, look, what people are missing when they're watching these videos is we're just going through all the fucking Bulbapedia pages, just comparing them, and Stephen somehow can't clock onto the fact that Azelf is just Jirachi, but with a blue bit on its head rather than a yellow bit.
They're a vastly different design. They've got a similar body shape, but the overall design is different. It's like saying that Machoke and Throw are the same because they happen to be bipedal with arms.
Throw is literally designed to be the fucking.
It's actually meant to be more akin to Hitmonchan.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get at.
Even though their designs are vastly different.
But they're filling the exact same role. Roller is just Geodude.
They're filling the role, but their designs overall are vastly different. I mean, you don't look at Rock'n'Roller and think that is exactly like Geodude, or Gigalith is exactly the same as Golem.
Well, no, but they are just like the XP, whereas when you're looking at the legendaries like Jirachi and Azelf, it look the same.
They don't.
Alright, this is going nowhere, so let's move on to a different legendary debate. Which of the Regis do you guys prefer? Chris, go on first, mate.
What? Regice, you got Reggie Rock, Steel.
Registeel.
Probably Ice, just because of the look of it looks cool, yeah.
Yeah, the Ice one is cool, Chris, well done.
Well, it's just
I know, we made Stephen.
It's the best.
It's a tough choice. I kind of lean towards Registeel and Regice.
See, that's interesting because I would probably say Regice is the most distinct one to me. The idea of this unmeltable ice golem thing, that is legitimately fucking cool. But then the idea of having this rock titan in Regirock, that is also really cool. Whereas Registeel just seems a bit it's still cool, but it's less impressive to me. And then we get to...
Is it because it's a much smoother design in comparison to the other two?
Yeah, maybe. It feels a lot cleaner. It's more rounded. I guess that's kind of the point, given it's the steel one.
Yeah.
I don't know how that kind of came about. Did it have to be manufactured?
I don't know what Regigigas' process was.
Nah, what about Regigigas? Because that was the one that was introduced later in Gen 4. Stephen?
I like it.
Chris?
I don't know much about it, but
it really is just it's just the leader of the Regis. It's the one that created all three of them.
And can move continents.
Yes.
Yeah, he can somehow just pull condoms around because he can do that, and apparently no one notices or complains.
You just find it where it's asleep. It's uninteractable with until you get the three Regis, because it's essentially just a sleeping statue until that point.
That's how it is in Gen 4. I want to complain a little bit about how it is in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Because are you familiar with the process that you would take?
Yes.
Okay, so to spell this out, what you have to do, bear in mind that you will have to get the three other Regis first. So to unlock them, you will have to do the same shit you did back in Gen 3, where you need to take a Relicanth and a Wailord in your party and follow some Braille instructions and use certain HM moves in the right places, within caves, and there's all that fucking around. Then you've got to catch all three of the Regis themselves in their different caves that are spread across the regions. Then you need to give Regice a nickname for some reason, just Regice.
That's the same in Gen 5.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
So you've got to give Regice a nickname, and you need to give it a hold item that's cold themed.
Yes,
so like a
it
Never
must-
Melt Ice, something like that.
It must be a Never Melt Ice or a Castelia cone.
Well, I used an icy rock that I had.
Oh, right.
So it's like anything that's like cold themed.
Oh, okay.
So like it needs to have that. Then once you've got that, you need to take all three of them in your party back to the cave where you found Regice. Like you have to have waited a day as well. You have to wait a day, so you can't just like plough through them all in one sitting. You got to like leave your 3DS overnight, and then you go back to the cave you found Regice, and then he breaks in from the floor. And like I've done this. Like I've put a playthrough up, like a long play on FC playthroughs. That was something that like I went out my way to do. It took like the video itself of that is an hour long. It took me a lot longer than that to get everything prepared for that video. And like fucking hell, like, and probably one of the most annoying things about the time features in the 3DS Pokemon games is you might think, you know what, I can get a bit clever, I can just put my clock forward. The game knows if you do that, and it doesn't let you. You have to wait another 24 hours. It doesn't, timed events don't start working until 24 hours later. And that is just like, they know that you're trying to try and push it. Like, why is that even a requirement? Like, for anything. Like, I get the time of day kind of things. You know, like, certain Pokemon appear in the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. That makes sense. That's a good feature because it's, like, representative of, like, Pokemon wildlife and that. That's been a thing since Gen 2. But when it comes to these arbitrary limits, like, you've got to just, like, do nothing for 24 hours just so Regigigas will show up. Why? Oh yeah, and that's the thing, inside all the caves to get the individual Regis, they also have a puzzle though. It might be use basic stuff like use dig, or use fly or whatever. But then there's ones like Regice one, you have to stand still for 2 minutes. You cannot move your character for 2 minutes, you just have to stand there. And the weird thing about that is that's how it was in Ruby and Sapphire. But they changed it in Emerald to be something less ridiculous. You just had to like walk a lap of the room. But then when they remade it, they just went back to the old way of just stand there like a mug for 2 minutes straight. And that made sense to them for some reason. Gen 3 was probably the worst for this, and obviously they're throwing back to that with the remakes. In that there's just these things that you would have. Like I was talking in the last part about how like there's some Pokemon that you could just find by accident just by exploring. You're never going to find the Regis by accident, are you? No. You're never going to just think like, okay, I need a Relicanth at the front of my party, I need a Wailord at the back, and I need to go to this particular cave underwater in a surf-only route that blows you past. So if you go the wrong route along this, it's got like fast water, so you can't surf back. You have to like fucking fly back to Pacific Log and then try again. Like this is someone taking the piss. I'm sorry, there's no one who thought, you know what, this is a logical puzzle. There was someone who just thought, I know what I can make them do, fuck them. And I don't think other gens have been that bad about that kind of thing, have they? Like, I think Gen 4, like what I remember from Diamond at least, like Diamond and Pearl, is there were a lot more of the ones that it's just a cave here, go find it in the cave. Which in a little way, I kind of get the vibe was maybe just a bit of a rush job, because I get the vibe that Diamond and Pearl were rushed for time. They just have that sort of incomplete vibe, particularly toward the end. Did they change many of the legendaries for Platinum aside from Giratina?
I don't know. I think it probably did have more legendaries, but I wouldn't know.
Oh, right. No, because I seem to recall hearing that they put the birds in, like Articuno, Zapdos and Moltres. And I think they're roaming, but I'm not entirely sure about that. And can I take a minute just to bitch about roaming legendaries? Because I want to bitch about roaming legendaries. What a fucking arbitrary way of doing it.
And what generation was it? That was Gen 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was introducing Gen 2, and I don't like it in Gen 2. That's like the weakest part of Gen 2. And like they just keep bringing them back, and they keep getting like more and more of them. Like in your fucking like Jirachi clan tree, why is it just one of them who does that?
I don't know. For some reason, Mesprit is the one that interacts with you the most throughout the game, and it's not really explained. I mean, I don't know if it's something to do with the fact that it's the emotion one, but I don't understand why that would mean anything.
It's emotionally unstable, so it keeps running off. There we go, I found it!
What is my purpose in life?
Like you did something that pissed it off and it's like, fuck off, I'm out. Oh, bless him. Like, that's probably the strongest design of the three.
I always preferred Azelf. But then again, I like the colour blue, so...
That's fair, but like in terms of like the actual body shape, I feel like Mesprit has got more going on. Although like, saying that as Elf, I feel like I know I'm digging up the same argument, so bear with me on this one, but like, I feel like I would appreciate Azelf more if it didn't have the same shape head as Jirachi. Because like, as a Pokemon, like out of the three, if I'm just looking at those, I would pick Azelf as my favourite. But you know, I feel like the most original one is Mesprit.
I always found it's like I find they kind of look alien to me. Like especially Azelf, it's got that sort of like alien like shape to its face with the massive eyes and.
It's not alien. It's just anime. Azelf is my waifu.
God's sake, I hate you so much.
I deserve that. But like, yeah, it's surprising me how little they've done with the whole outer space thing. Because like, we have Rayquaza and Deoxys, which is cool, but they signify that there is more out there. And it's kind of bizarre to me that like they haven't really gone into that. They went more into the whole multiverse thing.
And then plus Palkia being the one that controls space.
Yeah, because like, I don't really get that. Was Palkia's specific power? Like, does it have one other than like space travel?
Just generally the one that manipulates space. It created space, and then Dialga is the one that controls time.
Are you not up to date with your fucking NSP lore? Albert Einstein invented space, so you know. No, but like, I think out of those ones, I would say that Dialga has the cooler design.
Yeah, Dialga is one of my favourite legendaries overall for me. But that's probably because I did jump from Gen 1 to Gen 4, and Dialga was my first legendary since then.
Yeah, I kind of get you,
but it is also a blue metal dinosaur that controls time. But not only that, draws time as one of its moves.
Oh, that's one of the funniest fucking things though, when you get like a fucking like Igglybuff or some shit using Metronome.
Yeah.
And like Igglybuff used Roar of Time.
It used Spatial Ren.
Yeah.
Igglybuff used Judgment.
Yeah, that's the best one. Like, Igglybuff is the god of this world.
Igglybuff has smited you with the power of God.
Igglybuff has condemned you to hell. Because that's basically what Judgment can do, isn't it?
Oh god.
What does the move Judgment actually do?
It's just a
powerful move.
It's just a powerful move, really. It's like, it's very high damage. It's either like 100 or 120
it's fucking
damage,
huge, yeah.
And it's got 100 accuracy, and the typing of it varies based on what plate the Arceus is holding.
Yeah, because that's Arceus' like specific gimmick in that you can find plates around the overworld, and you can just like give one of them to him as a hold item.
Yeah.
And that just adapts his type and Judgment's type, which is cool.
Its ability is multi-type.
And I think some of the cards that they've came out with that like have the different adaptations of Arceus are cool, like because they've got that holofoil pattern, and they kind of encourage you to collect all of them because in the sense that like it's a circular pattern that when you line all the cards up, it forms this specific holofoil like logo sort of thing, which is really cool.
It's like, here's a thing that sparked a bit of a debate, and it was Detective Pikachu.
All right.
And it's shown in the trailers. Pikachu meets the girl in the film, and she pets him, and she gets him under the chin, and he really enjoys it, and he says, "Oh, sweet mother of Arceus, that feels so good."
Yeah, that's good.
And that sparked off the debate of how do you pronounce Arceus' name again. And it's like, you've got the people that are like, yes, but the English pronunciation is Arceus. And then you've got the other people saying, like, but the Japanese pronunciation is Arceus, therefore that is his actual name. But I don't really side with that, because it's the Japanese name. Yes, the Japanese pronounce it as Arceus. And it's like, you don't call Charizard Lizardon. Even though I love Lizardon.
If we're talking about where the origin of the word comes from, because like before Arceus got its official name, I stick with Arceus, by the way, that's with a hard C. That's how I've always done it. But if we're talking about like the original Romanji translation that we had before Arceus got his official English name, it was taken as Arzeus, like playing on Zeus. So that if you trying to do it as Arceus, like it's kind of a play on words there, which that makes sense. But then I seem to recall, like, didn't the anime just go with a hard C?
Yeah, they went with a hard C. Plus, I know that the name of the ability changed overseas. It's like Silvally. Its ability in the Japanese version or something, I think it's the AR system or something like that. But in other countries, I know in the English version, it's referred to as the RKS system. And at first I didn't realise what it was pointing at. Then I thought about the fact, like, because Silvally's type changes depending on what disc it's holding. And the fact that it's essentially a chimera. So it's meant to be trying to pull together all Pokemon to create one powerful being. And then RKS, I was like, I see what you're doing here.
I get it now.
So it's like, I kind of believe that the name is pronounced Arceus, which refers to the fact of being archaic, old, ancient, and that. So, so it's like, I see it more as Arceus.
Well, it's one of the things, really, though, isn't it? That, like, if the official series doesn't have a consistent choice, then really anything goes, doesn't it?
It's Fiona all over again. They don't even know if it's
fucking Regice.
It's like, they don't even know if Fiona is legendary.
Yeah, well, that was a fucking weird one. For they don't know, the way you get a Fiona is to get a Manaphy and breed it.
With a Ditto.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Fiona exists.
Yeah,
it's like, that is the only Pokemon from Diamond and Pearl where I'm like, what are you? Why are you here?
I don't get Fiona at all, especially given Manaphy's such a cooler design.
Yeah.
I love Manaphy. It's a cute little design.
And Fiona literally does look like just half of a Manaphy.
Basically,
It's got no legs, and it's only got two. It's got one of the things sprouting from its head.
How is it competitively compared to Manaphy? Like,
it's vastly inferior.
Why even bother?
Yeah, I don't know. And they don't even allow it in competitive battles.
Well, no, because it's like legendary acquainted, isn't it?
Yeah, because of it being acquainted with legendaries and mythical Pokemon, it's not allowed, even though it's vastly inferior to a lot of Pokemon.
Well, you know, it's kind of just improvised as they go along with some of these things, I swear. But, ladies and gentlemen, join me next time where we'll be going on to the Frost Cavern.